She called that radio TV. We are live. Just came back from a gig at the Carling Academy. I caught it's for Dandy Warhols and the Black Angels gig, and it was good. It was good. I've got a few thoughts about it. I wanted to share my thoughts with you because all my friends I was with said that they had to go home because unlike you, I've got a real job. I've got to work in the morning, and I was like, well, unlike me, because I've got a real job tonight, I've got to speak to the citizens of You Call That Radio and tell you all about what I thought I saw at the Dandy Warhols and the Black Angels at the Carling Academy. We call it the Carling Academy because it used to be called the Carling Academy, and for me, it will always be called the Carling Academy. And that's because, or maybe the Academy, but I will never call it the O2 because, you know, shout outs to my brother who was at the gig tonight. He went, the O2 Academy, is that the one in Sucky Hall Street? Aye, mate, the one that burnt down about 7 or 8 years ago and it's been all over the newspapers. That is gone, but that was the confusion. People would say, I'll get you the O2 and you'd go to a gig in Sucky Hall Street or the one over the bridge near the Gorbals. So that is O2's problem for getting greedy and trying to buy two of the venues and one of them burnt down. And we're very sad about that, but anyway, that's not what this is about. This is about the Dandy Warhols and the Black Angels. This is what I think.
You call that radio TV?
Shout outs to my friend who got me the free tickets. I don't know if he wants his name out there, so I'm going to say his name, but it was much appreciated. My brother's a big fan. I'm a big fan of the Dandy Warhols. The Dandy Warhols were on first. There was someone else on actually. Hold on. Let me just find out who was on first. Miranda Lee Richards. She was on first. An acoustic act. So she started things off about 7:15. She was really good. Lovely voice. Nice vibe to her. Good way to start the night. Me and my brother, we went there when I must have been about 14 and he must have been about 16 at the garage many years ago. I think, I might be wrong, but I think it was when the Come Down album came out, and that was that had the hit Not If You're the Last Junkie on Earth. I heard about that by watching the Joe Wiley show, which was actually a really cool chat show. It was definitely cool to me as a teenager. We heard the song, bought the album, loved the album, and noticed they were playing in Glasgow that week, and it was over 14, so we could go. But what a great... And then seen them loads of times at Tea in the Park and various other venues. So I've always loved the band, but not seen them for about 10 years or something. Not really not been too up to date with the recent output, but from what I've heard, it's great. You'll probably know them if you're going, who the fuck's Dandy Warhols? You'll probably know them if you don't recognise the name. You probably know them as the band that the Vodafone advert Bohemian Like You, which was a massive international hit. Before that, there was two amazing albums: Dandy Rules OK and Come Down and Welcome to Bohemia. There was 3 cracking albums before that. In fact, was that in that? Hold on, I need to fact check myself. It was called 13 Tales from Urban Bohemia. It was called 13 Tales from Urban Bohemia, and it was an absolutely brilliant album, man. Absolutely brilliant. And then after, I think it was the other one was called Welcome to the Monkey House. Sorry, I got them mixed up there. You Were the Last Highway, I think it was in that one. That was amazing. Got some bangers, man, absolute bangers. But they're a live band for me. They're just so cool. They're one of the coolest bands in the world. You know, I think they've got a song called "Cool as Kim Deal." Well, they are as cool as Kim Deal. That's the highest compliment I can pay to them that I'm sure they would like. Sleazy, psychedelic jams, rock and roll. They look like they're rocking. They're still rocking and roll. In fact, actually, they look really young tonight. I think I've overtaken them in the age. I was younger than them, but they're looking great for their age. So Dandy Warhols, shout outs to Miranda, she was brilliant. Then the Dandy Warhols start with 2 classics, 2 songs that I knew straight away. So you're always worried when you go to these things in case it's going to be newer stuff and you might not know it as well, but they started with 2 tunes that I knew. So it was, we were in. And then third song, Zia picks up the bass guitar. And the backdrop goes all psychedelic. And I thought the lighting guy, or the guy that was in charge of the visuals, did a great job. Kind of kept it subtle throughout most of the gig, but then at the right moments it would get very colourful. I liked that. I was so high the first time I saw the Dandy Warhols. In fact, all the times I've seen the Dandy Warhols, that tonight I felt like absolutely stoned at my box, almost tripping with those with the little visuals there was. It wasn't one over the top visual thing, but it just the amount of high I was at previous gigs, it just brought it back, and you're in a trance with them. Lots of instrumentals, and they're just doing their thing. Cool as fuck. I mean, I could probably say this because I would imagine the statute limits of someone passing you a joint are over now. But the first time I seen them is I won't say who it is, I'll maybe bleep that out. But one of them passes a joint into the crowd. And I don't know if I was the first person to hit it or the second, but we all just took a puff and passed it on. And that was amazing, man. That was liberating. That was before the smoking ban. If you're trying to guess my age, it was before the smoking ban. They did play Bohemian Like You, which was great. Because I was like, well, they're only playing for an hour. They're not headlining, so they're probably only going to play for 45 minutes, an hour. There's songs I would rather have seen apart from that. But they played Godless. I think I heard them right. It was a guy playing the trumpet part. I think he's from Scotland. I think they get him up every time they're in Scotland. That was amazing. I think I recognised them as well, but maybe they said something completely different. I don't know. But that was a great moment. And, they played I Love You. I love you. I love you. The Creep Out. Is it the Creep Out? The sort of the big jam. They played that as well. You also might know them. I know they don't really like talking about that in the same way that Brian Jones to Massacre don't like talking about it, but they were both in a documentary called Dig, so that's how you might recognise the name, the documentary Dig, which I think both Dandy Warhols and Brian Jones to Massacre don't like, because it was a kind of a fly in the wall documentary following them about, and they were all, getting mad with it, getting on it, and falling out, and there was like fighting and accusations, but if you're a neutral, I was a fan of the Dandy Warhols when I watched it, and it made me a fan of Brian Jones to Massacre, and I think they're pals again now. I don't know what the script is, but I know that neither side really particularly likes the documentary, probably because they get asked about it all the time, and they were probably so young when that happened that it must be so annoying that anyone asks them about it anymore. And if any of them are watching right now, they're probably really annoyed that I've even brought it up, but it's just to give context to people who are like, well, I recognise that name. It's probably the Dig documentary. If you've not seen it, go watch it. And if you do watch it, don't mention that you watched it to either of the band, because, I don't think they're fans. But they should acknowledge that it's when they get old and grey, they'll be like, that is a good piece of television, and they got millions of new fans, both bands, for that, I would have imagined. I don't think it caused any damage. Like I said, I was left with a short set. There's so many more songs I would rather see than Bohemian Like You. But then when it came on, you just felt the atmosphere, and everybody's singing it word for word, man, and it was beautiful. It took me back, man. It was I was glowing in nostalgia. I felt young again. And it was good. It was a good moment. But then straight after that, they went right into Get Off. And honestly, that was a moment, man. It was a moment when Get Off came on. I was just like, man, I was welling up, man. I was welling up with tears. I didn't actually cry. I never cry. But, in fact, when was the last time I felt that? Was actually in the Academy as well, and it was Jamie T. And it just takes you back to your youth. You feel young again, and you feel what you want to greet. With joy, with happiness. And then you look around and you go, everyone's getting older. We're all getting older. Life is short. And then you probably want to greet Because you're sad. I don't know. It's good though. Oh, and I get slagged for my jacket. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. You call that radio? So I get slagged for this jacket. I get slagged for this. And I didn't even know I was getting slagged at first, but a guy came up to me and says, Sean Ryder in the house. Oh no, he said Sean Ryder's in the house. And the way he said it, I thought Sean Ryder was actually there. Because it was a good bam up. He did it subtly. But what he was doing was referring, and then he said, are you Mancunian or are you Mancunian? Mancunian. And I realised he was bamming me up. The guy that slagged me had a fabulous hat, but I'm assuming he doesn't live in the same place as me. You know, the kind of places that I live are the kind of places that you get stabbed for wearing fabulous hats. So you just try and wear something that you think other people might wear. And then the Black Angels, who were amazing, man, they reminded me of kind of Black Rebel Motorcycle Club. And at points, vocally, kind of, there was some, I could hear a bit of a Stone Roses influence, but they were really good. They were really good. I have listened to them before, like, over a couple of years. I think actually I learned about them through the Dandy Warhols, who bigged them up a couple of years ago. So I've been following them on Spotify, and I have heard their tunes before, and I really like them. But it's the first time I've seen them live. Didn't know too much about them. Amazing, man. The drum sound was incredible for them. And, you know, the band were tight. They smashed it, man. They absolutely smashed it. But anyway, I would say that the Dandy Warhols are still on tour. Go and check them out, man. And check out the Black Angels. Both bands are worth your time. For the Dandy Warhols, I would start with Come Down or 13 Tales from Urban Bohemia and Dandy Rules OK. They're my favourites. But all their albums after that are also good. And Black Angels, I don't really know much about them, but I would recommend them as well. They're both on tour. They're doing a world tour together, so go and check them out if you can. And yeah, join me tomorrow where I'm going to be doing a thing about alcohol pricing. And the fact that Scottish government has put up the minimum alcohol pricing to stop Scottish people from drinking. And we're going to look at if that's been successful or not. And you can all call me a hypocrite and a liar and a thief because I was wearing shades in the previous video, which means I maybe had a couple of drinks myself. But I mean, fucking hell, man. It's not I'm driving your ambulance. I'm just making you some fucking content about music. I'm just making some content. I'm not driving your ambulance. Just let me be, man. I'm just trying to give you a review. Back in the day, we used to write blogs. Remember them? Well, hopefully, once AI figures out the Scottish accent, I'll be able to just turn this into a transcript and then put it as a blog. If you'd rather a blog with no accent and no sunglasses, then that's the future, man. That's the future. One day they will figure out the Scottish accent. Until then, we can see what we want, and the robots don't have a fucking clue.
I got you. Ready? Yeah, he's 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yo, this is Charlie Tuna from Jurassic 5 live and direct here in Glasgow, Scotland, and you call that radio?